Welcome back to More Than Muscle UK, the channel where we help you lose 5 to 10 kilos in the next 12 weeks, all by yourself. But not only that, if you're looking for personal trainers that help you train well, eat well, and move well, then this is the place to be. So hit the subscribe button to get more workouts, recipes, cook-alongs, and all-round education. So we're approaching our second month. We're moving into February. There's going to be 3 more workouts added into our YouTube playlist, 5 to 10 kilos in the next 12 weeks. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to use a trap bar deadlift. And the reason for that is it's going to be a feature of one of the workouts. So I'm going to establish why it's one of our favorites, how to lift it, and then you'll know exactly what to do when the workouts are posted. And just a disclaimer, if you're not interested in losing 5 to 10 kilos, but you would like to learn how to lift the trap bar deadlift, then this video is also for you. So, some of you might be aware of this odd looking piece of kit in the gym. It's the funny shaped hexagon thing, hence the word hexagon, sometimes referred to as the trap bar deadlift. Fantastic exercise for us to bridge the gap between deadlifting and squatting, reduce lower back problems, but lift a whole lot of kilos, which basically means lots of muscle mass, lots of strength, lots of calorie burn, heart rate up, and helps you with your 5 to 10 kilo weight goal. So the fantastic thing about this barbell versus the traditional straight one is it will have the person stand in the middle of it, which basically means their center of mass is shifted forward and you take a lot of the lower back pressure away. So it's a great bridge for us to learn how to squat and learn how to deadlift without compromising that lower back, particularly if you're new to lifting. As you can see with a traditional bar, it's in front of the person. So if Hats gets into the deadlift position, hands in front of herself, she sits into it. Just before you lift, get your lats on and just leg press the floor. Give me a couple reps, RDL to the knee, sit back down. You can see there is a significant stress going on in the posterior chain of the body. So if you're not skilled and you haven't been doing this a lot, the lower back will take a lot of the loading. And as I suggested, it's a bridge between deadlifting and squatting. So for a lot of people, getting into the bottom positions of a squat is quite difficult. There's a huge requirement for flexibility. So the Hex Bar or the trap bar is a fantastic bridge between the two. A bridge between deadlifting and squatting, and one of the reasons we use it is because you stand inside it rather than the implement being in front of you, so it takes a lot of the load off your lower back muscles because your center of mass is shifted forward. So as you can see, Nat goes into a kind of squat deadlift position, holds the handles. One of the key things and one of the biggest mistakes I see people make here is that they don't have their ankles in line with the bells, which are inside of the plates. And they don't actually have their hands in the middle of the actual handles. If you don't do this, the bar will tilt and it will make it a lot more difficult for you. Once Nat is nice and set, the other thing is getting those lats engaged. Like we have spoken about with traditional deadlift, you saw Hattie do earlier, you need to get these switched on. Get everything nice and tight from a posterior chains perspective. Nat has a nice 45-degree back angle and all she is essentially doing is leg pressing the floor. Nice and tight, she returns to the start position by simply just squatting. And then she resets her body and does the same thing again. Really simple, it's a great exercise to actually load it. And as I said, it's a good bridge between deadlifting and squatting, especially if you're new to pulling from the floor. Common mistake people make, even when they're deadlifting, but a common mistake when you're lifting is not taking the slack out of the bar. And what this means is taking the weight out of the bar before you lift. It means that your muscles are in control, and it means you can use your legs to drive through the floor without your lower back muscles and the rest of it taking the load. So if Hats gets into that position, the noise you're looking for is that. And all that means is Hats is in control of the bar becomes weightless, and she can use her body now to take control and dominate the barbell. Good. Another thing to note about this particular bar is that it's not just for beginners. We use it a lot in our own training. Its convenience and minimized risk in relation to the traditional deadlift means we can load it and get a decent amount of volume performed. Remember, just because it's lower in risk doesn't mean you shouldn't respect it and lift without good form and relative load to what you can perform. However, the fact you can lift around 30% more than your back squat, 45% more than your front squat, and between 5 and 15% more than your deadlift means if you knuckle down, nail the form and get some good results with it, it'll be a great thing that you can stick into your training, particularly for weight loss and strength gain. You may have heard me call it a trap bar and a hex bar. The great thing about this bar is that you can increase its range of motion. When the handles are facing up, it's a trap bar. However, when they're facing the floor, like Nat in her training here, it's a hex bar. So finally, you can see that I'm using the high handle and Nat the low handle. Factors like your biomechanics will influence your choice, or if you want to mimic closer to a traditional deadlift and or a specific transfer, you can choose to load it in a certain way. The low handles help us get more hip dominant, whilst the high handles provide more quad dominance. Both work our upper back muscles too. The high handles provide more stability and less lower back loading. The great thing about this bar is it's low risk, you have an ability to get a lot of workload complete, and its versatility is why it's a staple of our weight loss and strength programs.